In this video, I want to assist in defining certain definitions and also documentation required on the 3508 EZ on the SBA application for debt forgiveness. I actually did a video that's linked at the screen below, but in that I said I would help with definitions. So what I want to do is I want to take this and just kind of draw a box of what this presentation is about. It's when you're filling out this application, I kind of need to stop right here. I said that I would help to define these terms and how to get the amounts, the dollar amounts on these lines and the related documentation that you would need. So again, refer to the video at the bottom of the page on actually how to fill out the form. But as you go through that video, when you get down here, for example, to payroll cost, we've done some other videos. The form has changed a couple of times, so I just want to look at and give you some definitions. So let's talk about what is the payroll cost that goes on line one. It's salary, wages, commissions, cash tips or the equivalent, pay leave, allowance for separation or dismissal, housing allowance or stipend, payments for group health care benefits, payment for retirement benefits, and payment to state and local taxes. So that is what goes here, and that amount must equal 60% of the benefit you're asking to be forgiven. Again, it must be 60%, another way to say it, 60% of the eligible expenses that you're asking to be forgiven. So that's the definition of payroll. Business mortgage, on the business mortgage, then what you will do there is that's actually what it means. It's the interest paid during the covered period on business mortgage. The next one is rent, and it's rent or lease payments paid during, and I got to say during, the covered period. You can't prepay. The big thing is you cannot prepay your rent. And finally, business utilities is for electric, gas, water, transportation, telephone, and internet access. In each one of these last three, the loan, the rent or lease, and utilities must have existed on or before 2/15 of 2020. So for these three, they must have already been in place. In other words, they don't want you to all of a sudden come up with these rents. So that's the definition. Now, what I would like to also do is I'm going to go back to the top here. Let's look at line one for payroll costs. And I want to say something here. In this case, with the documentation, this is not going to go into SBA. This is going to be between you and the lender. So proof of payroll can be bank accounts, third-party payroll services. The bank's going to want the 941s, the state quarterly business reports, because then they can look at each individual employee because the bank or the financial institution that did this is going to have to do their own due diligence. So as such, they're going to want to look at, the banks we're dealing with, they're wanting to look at payroll reports, federal and state. Also, they want to see health insurance payments. They want to see retirement programs. They may want to see receipts, canceled checks, and even bank statements. So what I'm saying, when in doubt, document. Because, again, we're doing this to get a debt forgiven. Now, going back to this mortgage interest, what we're going to see in the area of mortgage interest and the documentation required, they're going to want to look at what the loan documentation and amortization schedule, canceled checks. So again, it's going to be what the lender that made this loan feels is appropriate. And I can tell you, there several times we're seeing differences between lenders. Rent, they're going to want to see a copy of the lease, a receipt, and or canceled checks of the payments being made. And then finally, the utilities, they're going to want to see copies of invoices and canceled checks. So I kind of look at this box here on this form. It's kind of like, it's almost like an IRS audit. they're going to see you paid it. Where's the receipt of it? And even we've got one bank that, again, wants to see the bank account, wants to see the receipts, and wants to see the canceled checks. So, again, I hope this presentation helped. The purpose of it was how do we define the numbers on line 1 through 4, especially in the payroll area, and then what documentation you're going to have to provide to the financial institution. You're going to fill out the application for the forgiveness of 3508EZ. You're going to give that to the appropriate financial institution that made the loan to you. That's going to go to SBA. The bank's going to keep all the documentation. Again, this is to supplement the presentation that we did earlier on filling out the forgiveness application 3508EZ. Hope this helps. Click that you like it, spread the word, and work with your bank, and hit the little bell. And thank you. See you again.